Hey everybody, it's Jason Will. Just want to take a quick second to remind you that my Impact Agent University conference is happening this April 11th and 12th, 2019 in New Orleans, Louisiana. Get your tickets at impactagentuniversity.com and use promo code JASON10 for a 10% discount off your tickets. Ready? Ready to rock and roll? Is that action? All right. Okay.
That's right.
All right.
Absolutely. Go. Go.
Hello everybody, it's Jason Will with
Go.
This is a real estate podcast, but we talk about leadership, personal growth, and becoming the best version of yourself. Leadership, check 1, 2, check 1, 2. Growth, best version of yourself.
Go.
So this is a real estate podcast. I would like to welcome you to the real show, the Impact Agent Podcast Show. Okay, we actually have.
What episode is this for you?
What episode is this, Johnny?
It's in the 52.
It's like, oh my God! Whoa!
Oh,
so close.
So we've been at this a little longer than you.
Stick with it, kid.
This is episode 52 of the Todd and Blake Show.
This is a special deal, right? This is the 1-year anniversary of your show, and there was a lot of begging of you guys to come on my show because it is more of an established show with way more viewers and listeners.
Yeah, real people on it. Yeah, you're right. You're right there.
I mean, on your show, you got your mom. On my show, I have people all over the country that listen and watch. So it's a little bit different, but you guys are going to get there one day. The Bucky's Bathroom Show was highly entertaining.
Yeah,
That's right.
It's one of my favorites.
You've never done an episode from the Bucky's bathroom, have you?
I like the guy just mopping, just ignoring us. Just two dudes in a bathroom interviewing each other. Mopping
No
away.
big deal.
Yeah.
No big deal.
See it every day.
Got some views.
Yeah, listen, your coffee mug is ruining my shot. So can you get that out of my way?
How do you see that?
I just see things.
There you go.
So let's talk about the Todd and Blake Show for a second, and what's the history behind it? Why did you guys start this video show, this Facebook Live show?
Honest answer?
Yeah, this is real and raw.
Real and raw.
Yeah.
To get you off our back.
Major.
All right, you've talked to us.
What does that mean?
You were on our back, literally.
Yeah, that's
Facebook
right.
videos.
Make a Facebook video. Yeah.
Facebook this.
So we said, I'm not doing this by myself. You want to just tag team it and shut him up? Okay, we did. And it was boring.
It was lame. Man.
How many shows between the first show and the pool episode, which kind of set everything off?
6.
Yeah, I was going to say about 6.
Wow.
Yeah.
But wasn't it a challenge from Coach Mike, our Tom Ferry coach, to actually commit to a full year?
I think after the 6th video, that was the turning point for us. That's my theory. I mean, I think it was
That's when we created the Facebook page.
A unique setup, yeah.
Right. First, it was from our personal pages.
Right.
And we created the Facebook page when our video, the pool video, had 7,000 views in about 3 days. And we realized we're going to be onto something here. Mm-hmm. And then Coach Mike, the Tom Ferry coach, contacted us and said, okay, you don't realize it, but you just committed yourself to a year. As your coach, I'm telling you, you're going to do this for a year. And today is a year.
So once the show stopped sucking, that's when he was like, listen,
I gotta get on board.
Yeah, it's like we're going big time here with this show. This is a real deal. It actually has some viability here to it.
I think we did too. I know it was like going to the get a root canal the first 4 shows because the thought process for me has always been with your Eddie formula. Mm-hmm. I was very intrigued on the entertainment. I don't necessarily like the education part of it because I think that there's a lot of that. And I don't want to knock anybody for doing it. I just feel like there's a lot of that noise out there. I think we have to get out to just kind of having a little bit of fun. And that's where we yin and yang, or yin and yang.
I don't know.
Whatever.
Yeah, nobody knows.
That's a strange example.
Why is that strange? It's two different things. It's
because
opposing.
it joins you and Todd in a union.
Yeah, like that. Yeah,
Yeah.
a union.
Like a union.
Like a union.
But that's where Todd has to really concede that, you brought the flavor to the show on the 6th episode. It kind of sucked when Todd was leading
it was about as entertaining as C-SPAN. I mean, Todd's
exactly
C-SPAN, and I'm like MTV.
Yeah.
I believe that you got to, the value.
I still try to bring some value
You do.
to it.
You do a good job with it, too. You got a little sick mind, too. A lot of times, I'll come clean now. A lot of these great ideas, like, hey, you know what, man? You should go and do a cannonball in that pool. Dang old in your suit, man. That was your idea.
Wow.
I mean, a lot of these ideas are Todd's that he's is tucked away in
I
like
set
a
him up to
dark
look like
place. Yeah.
Todd is gifted at knowing how to make other people look stupid.
That's the
That
greatest
is a
compliment.
gift. I consider that a gift.
Yeah, I do too.
It is.
It's very good. I like it.
Well, that was the image. I wanted to be professional enough that someone would trust us to list their properties and to use us in their.
Yeah. So that made
But
me.
that was where we were wanting to go. And Blake is like, "How can I make this a?"
I said, turn it up to 11, man. Let's tase me. You got rubber bullets, shoot me. Let's go wrestle ostriches.
Attacked by a police dog.
Police dog in Silver Hill.
That was a good episode.
But I do. I think you have to. That's where we really do work together. We argue. We bicker back and forth. I don't know who I should be looking at, what I should be doing here. I feel like we go back and forth consistently every morning, about every hour. We fight like we are an old married couple.
Another odd reference.
Yeah. Well, it's a good reference. It really hits hard. But the value is something we both agree on. My distribution of it's a little different than yours, but you get on board on it. You rein me in. It works.
We're polar opposites.
Polar opposites.
And I think, it's important to note that Todd is really the beneficiary of business. So, like, whereas your role may, expand your viewership and impressions and clicks and follows and shares and all that stuff, but Todd's actually getting the business.
He's getting the business. I'm just the face of the franchise, and he's getting all the money.
Who's the dummy now?
Yeah,
Right.
So he's completely content with the structure of the show. I'm thinking because
I'll stick with my Old Navy blue jeans, and you can wear the red and the blue and patriotic Uncle Sam outfit over there.
Oh my goodness!
Whatever
gracious.
gets attention, man. I'll fire bottle rockets out my behind if it means somebody will look.
Yeah, and I think the public wants to see that. There was some pushback from
The tasing.
and that's important to. I've got that on my list. So the show has been used for the greater good because we did raise a lot of money for the hurricane victims in the Panhandle. What did we raise? Like 12,000.
Yeah, I was going to say 12, and not even
$12,000.
48 hours. What was it?
It wasn't very long.
It was less than a week, and we raised $12,000.
So there have
Impressive.
been some huge benefits of the show to benefit those that are in need. So, you guys should take a great bit of pride in that.
We do.
But what else, if an agent is listening to this or watching on Facebook, have there been benefits? I mean, obviously you made it 52 weeks, so this hasn't been just a 52-week experiment with no results.
That's right. I mean, it's for me. I've had 2 listings out of it, and they were people that I was acquaintances with, kind of knew each other, but this served as a top of mind reminder that I was in real estate.
So it keeps you connected to your SOI.
That's right.
Blake gets recognized at Starbucks, and he's fine with that.
No,
To him,
gas stations.
Yeah.
Gas
Gas
stations. While
station.
he's
I get
getting
recognized at Starbucks. They know my name when they
his
call for my
breakfast.
coffee. Everybody knows it. They're like, Blake, here's your coffee.
and that's your currency. You're
Yeah.
fine with that.
Well, it's a big, you may have forgotten when I first started, you had sent me into, I didn't know it was an exclusive Keller Williams event, but you had sent me down to Orange Beach to watch Nolly Williams.
Yeah.
Remember that?
Yeah.
And I sat in there and thought, what is this guy talking about? He's a cowboy from Dallas. I have nothing in common with this fella. One thing I did take away from that I never did share was be a local hyper celebrity. Like, yeah, Todd gets top of mind, and I'm okay with that. That's a fair trade-off for him keeping me in line, because if it wasn't, the show wouldn't get done. But there's going to be a payout eventually for both of us, which is hyper local celebrityism.
It does
Is that
feed
word?
his ego when I tell him stories of you go in the grocery store and the cashier says, "You're Todd from the Todd and Blake Show." Me and my mom, we watch it every Friday. I'm like, Blake about ran his car off the road when he heard that. He's like,
Dang old
yes,
Blake.
we have
Hey,
arrived.
you may have been right.
Yeah.
You may have been right. You might be on to something there.
Yeah.
Well,
Getting recognized at the Greers.
and it has been a struggle because hasn't Todd had some moments of self-doubt and wanting to throw in the towel?
Oh, very much so. I mean, we used to joke, and I'd tell Lane, big shout out to Lane Lucas, who was really, he was instrumental sometimes in just being like, you guys may want to think about this, just little tidbits. I'd call up Lane and I'd be like, pretty sure I had to talk Todd off a ledge. One day he'd come in and he'd say, well, it's a good run, buddy. I'd just say it's Tuesday.
I seriously thought for a while we were wasting our time.
Yeah.
I was like, there's too many other dollar producing activities that we could be doing right now.
Yep.
And I tell Blake this ever so often, but he was right.
In the commitment to being real and raw, you've only said out of 52 weeks. Yeah, get closer to the mic. I think because
you should say it louder when you say Blake was right.
Blake was right.
If agents are listening, or I don't know agents are going to be listening, but they hear you say that I've only taken 2 listings in 52 weeks of effort, that sounds like a big waste of time. And this is the spirit of being real and raw this morning. What do you say to that?
I don't know, though. I mean, when you look at the commissions on that, I mean, that was probably over $10,000 of GCI over 52 weeks. I mean, if nothing else, we've gotten some free stuff, free food,
that's true.
free
snake draped around her neck.
He did the zip line one week.
Barbecue.
I mean, nobody ever charges us for anything, so there is some benefit to this.
I got to sit in the cryogenic therapy chamber.
Negative 200 degrees.
Yep.
Yeah, so health benefits.
Yeah.
Well, and I think anybody that is starting a business or a franchise, dare to say that the Todd and Blake Show is a newly forming franchise.
Yeah.
You know, the first year is all about establishing yourself and building up your audience and your following and really, you know, finding your voices and your identities on the show.
Creating your audience.
Yeah.
You know, that's the big thing. And I want to touch base on what you just said was one thing that I really listened to you when you say is micro commitments.
Now, he said he listens to me. You heard this.
Right.
And this is
there's a lot of things you say, but I mean, that's always one thing that I'm like, I find myself regurgitating it.
Watch the big words.
Yeah, those are...
Be careful with those.
Toughies. I find myself saying it to people in the office. Like, I think I've heard some of the agents on the team, you know, hey, why aren't you doing open houses? Well, you know, I did one and I only got one person in. And, like, I'm not as subtle about it in some ways. Like, I'll jump on it and be like, well, you got to have effing micro commitments. Like, you can't... Think about if you looked at things from a whole different spectrum. If you looked at an open house and said, I'm just happy to get one person in. But no, we look at it and go, well, I wasted 2 hours of my life. I had only 20 people. They all want 20 people and 3 offers to come in the doors, and that's unrealistic. So that's the way I look at the show.
Yeah.
I think it's smart. I mean, most agents... we need to, I think, unpack what you just said there because most of it was like
filler.
Yeah, incomprehensible. I don't know. It's a little, I don't know.
Half words.
I might have taken a slight little nap while you were talking. But it's true that most of these agents want this instant gratification and they want a windfall of results from a small amount of effort. And
if they don't see it in the first 30 days, they're like, this isn't a job for me.
Mm-hmm. I'm out. You know, it's just like if we talk about the home value leads. Todd's starting to crush that now. At first, he's like, man, JW, these leads are terrible. I don't like them, yo.
It's like, I don't care if it only costs you 10 cents a piece. This is a waste of 10 cents.
Junk, man. I don't know.
Money-making things.
But all of a sudden,
it's starting to kick
open.
off. But
That's
I mean,
exactly right.
Most of these agents quit right before or on the eve of a great success.
I found that with the show, one of the greatest things that we've done is be authentic. And I think that that's where people are failing. Even the ones that are trying video, they get discouraged after they'll make 4 or 5 videos and they're like, nobody's watching this. I mean, but we're authentic. This is us. We are completely polar opposites. He dresses like a
clown.
Whoa.
That is the exact word that I was going to say.
Hot takes
I
coming
wear
from Todd.
Everything that I gave,
Clown.
Everything I'm wearing, Jason Will provided me for free.
Yeah.
Or Old Navy.
Let's say, not your underwear.
Not my underwear.
Yeah.
The polos, Jason gave me for free. That's the same thing I wear every single day. I'm conservative. He's liberal. I mean, we are completely opposite here, but yet
I was a pastor from Mississippi, and
No,
you were
that-
that was you.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I think that does why I work. And it's hard to be authentic, though. You know, it's hard.
It's hard not to script
It's hard to look this good. I mean, and then you do your thing, and
He got dressed in the dark and does not realize his pants are red.
I mean, when he came in, I was like, whoa, wow.
they're not red, they're salmon. Just to reiterate,
Salmon. Listen, we're just jealous we can't pull this off because
No, I
if we
cannot
tried to
pull
wear
that
this, they'd be like, "This guy needs
Lost
to be
his mind.
Yeah, he's
Lost
not
his
right in the
mind.
head." All right, listen, this is a big job just trying to corral you two.
It's like cats.
It's like herding cats. It really is. So let's get back to the show. This is just to recap people that are watching. This is your 1-year anniversary show. You guys were challenged to do this for 52 weeks. You completed. This is the 52nd show. Let's talk about, we've touched on this a little bit, but I want to hear your stories from your most memorable moments, your favorite shows, things that happen behind the scenes, things that maybe people don't know about that you want to share. And let's keep it clean. Ooh, this is a family show.
That's going to be all Todd then.
My favorite show was Blake's idea. All right. He said, how many times have you ever seen a YouTube video with a snake on it and you didn't stop and watch it? And I
Every
said,
single 90% of my day goes
okay,
to that.
I mean, I don't really sit around and watch YouTube videos of snakes, but I have to say, if there was a big snake on a video, I'd probably stop and see what was going on with it. And so he lines up with the zoo, and he says, I want to see the biggest snake you have at the zoo. And we get down there, and there's a 12-foot anaconda
Yellow
named
anaconda.
Magic that is brought out. And we're cool until we pick it up. And then the snake decides to start
powerful.
winding back around and getting up in our face. It crawled up his jacket sleeve. We forgot every question that we ever
Pure
down
terror.
There.
Terror.
We were laughing. I couldn't speak. And that episode,
Sweat beating into my eyes.
that episode, I think, put us on the map.
I would agree. Well, I mean, the pool episode.
That sparked.
It defined what the show was going to be.
Yeah.
That sparked the direction we needed to go with the show. But the snake episode, it got attention for
Out in Dallas,
weeks,
California.
Weeks.
What about you, Blake?
I mean, I've been a huge. I think if I'm really to narrow it down, would be the pool episode, because that was kind of like, all right, we're not just shifting. We're shifting from original real estate show to I don't even know if I can say.
A little more entertainment.
Yeah, I was going to say
Jackass.
Okay, Jackass. Real estate Jackass. So I think that's, or value Jackass, which I like to call it. And that's when it really, for me, shifted to like, all right, we might be on to something. I had that immediately. Like when we did that show and it reached 8,000 organic views, I was like, this is something.
And we've never paid to boost any of these videos.
Right. That's a good point.
So when our worst episodes get 2,500 views on them, I think that's a success.
It is.
Yeah.
It is.
And maybe Todd will like give you a little more rope in 2019 to kind of
Go crazier.
Yeah, to go a little.
Don't encourage that.
We got skydiving we want to do. There's a lot of stuff.
We have people businesses contact us on a regular basis saying, can we schedule to be on the show? Some of them, it's really tough to make that entertaining. So they are the ones that when we don't have anything else to go to, that we'll be able to fit them in. But some of them would be a really difficult episode, but some have been pretty good.
We're working on getting a bull riding one going.
Yeah, that's
There's
exactly
going to be
right.
some.
I'm going to just, on behalf of the fans, really demand that there be an investment made in the show in terms of equipment.
We've tried. Hey,
We do have a good mic. I mean, what else do we need?
Yeah, we have literally tried it, literally to a level of, we could go all day about that, but literally we probably have enough equipment to run a small movie company.
Well, like if you jump out of an airplane.
Yeah, but how are we going to?
Yeah, but
GoPro?
the guy GoPros it. Now they charge like $200 for the GoPro footage, and Tightwad over here is not going to shell out $200. Yeah. Like, man, it's fine. We don't even.
I blame Stephanie for that.
I'll sit on the ground and shoot up.
You think Stephanie's watching?
Yeah, she's probably watching this. But she does. I mean, she takes all my money and she just never lets me have any.
She's
of it
the
back.
reason why you act like a potato farmer that was raised.
farmer.
Yeah, raised during the Great Depression.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's exactly right.
All right. Well, you went on record with that, so good luck with that when you get home.
That's right. She's proud of that.
What advice? So people are watching this. Realtors are listening to this. They're like, all right, I'm going to finally get out there and do a show. What advice would you give them? What are some things you know now that you wish you knew then that you can relate to these folks out there?
To trust the Kool-Aid. Drink it and trust it. I mean, what these people are telling you is legitimate, and it's taste consistency. So even in I don't even know what year I'm in, but if I thought about it, I don't know. But
Just don't think. Just go.
Just go.
The early 2000s weren't good to you, were they?
No, they were a blur. They were a blur. Good music, though. But I think a lot of it comes down to just today, like not get too impatient with the process. Like I call him up almost on a daily basis. And I'm like, frustrated sometimes. Like, gosh, I'm having a great January and February for me. And all I could look at was the negative. And then it takes a yin and a yang, back to that reference, to pop me out of it and say, yeah, but that ain't bad. That's better than you ever done. I looked at it and saw a $140,000 average sales price, and I was like, that's crap. That's crap. And I didn't realize I wasn't looking at the fact that I'm at like 8, pending and closed, and it's only February.
I say that every real estate agent needs to give themselves some credit. I mean, there's one or two that's pretty proud of their accomplishments in Baldwin County, and they'll tell you want to know how good they are, just ask them. But they need to give themselves some credit, because there's agents that are down on themselves for selling $2 or $3 million a year of real estate, and they're like, gosh, I'm never going to make it in this business. But $2 or $3 million is better than 90% of the county, and
yeah,
I mean, that's in the top 10% of the county.
But I think it's the internal drive. Like when you see somebody like a Dusty Cole or somebody like that up there high producing, it's not.
Shout out to Dusty.
Shout out to Dusty, great guy. But I want to beat him. I want to outproduce him. I mean, I think you feel that same way, right? Mm-hmm. You don't want to be like, oh, he's a nice guy.
It's always good to have goals.
Healthy competition.
It's healthy competition. Kendall Whalert in our office was top agent this year. She beat me by $400,000, and that burned. That hurt.
Right.
And it was everything that I could do to try to pull one more deal together to close before the end of the year, because that is an accomplishment if I could beat her. And then I was down on myself a little bit about it, but I'm like, you know what? Ricky Bobby's wrong. Number 2's all right, And if you got to give yourself some credit every once in a while.
But not stay complacent, though.
Yeah, not stay complacent. Keep pushing, keep working hard, and keep coming up with new ways to get in front of people.
Just leave it to, I never thought on my podcast there'd be a reference to Talladega Nights, but just leave it to Todd.
Yeah.
To make that a reality,
right.
With
Ricky Bobby's wrong.
With the Ricky Bobby reference.
Yeah.
Interesting.
He got it kind of close, yeah.
Yeah, he said if you're not first, you're last.
Well, you paraphrased it.
You should know.
I think it's important to mention that, and I'm just very cautious and try to be mindful about, planting this seed in the mind of agents who are wanting to get into the content arena. Number one, it needs to happen ASAP. It needs to be consistent. They need to get out of their own way. They need to stop with the excuses. I shot a video with an agent the other day for promoting Impact Agent Conference, and it was a great video, but she's in her own way. She looked at it, started second guessing herself, and she was like, "You can't post that video." And I'm like, this is the reality of the majority of the mindsets out there. But at the same time, we have to make the point that you guys are not stopping with the fundamentals. You guys make a heck of a lot of calls every single day. Mm-hmm. So you have prioritized this show.
Yeah. We can't be solely dependent on the show, obviously. But it is something that we can be consistent with. But consistency in every area, balanced in every area. Following up on people that you know as much as people you don't know. That's another area that we have to be balanced in. We have to spread it out a little bit, do all of it.
Yeah. I mean, it's something I struggle with, that part, and we talk about that all the time, and it's accountability within that. Like, it's easier for me to call up a stranger than it is for me to call up somebody that I've known my whole life. I don't know why.
And not me. I mean, my past was working at a church. I worked at a church for 10 years, so I know a lot of people, and I really do enjoy calling and talking about non-real estate topics with them. And I hope that I'm top of mind.
What's your problem?
My problem? Oh, I guess I've always come up with the crutch of I'm not from the area. So I guess creating the relationship, like going out and going to these things wasn't a money-making activity. Like going out and joining the Lions Club or the Kiwans or whatever it is, to me just never made sense.
Kiwans?
Is that what it is?
I don't know.
Did I make that up?
Kiwanis.
Kiwanis. That's what I meant.
Moving. Yeah, I mean, but if you're going to go to these things, you should probably learn how to pronounce the name
Sorry,
of these
Kiwanis Club.
But
probably
you've been
check that one off.
You've been doing this long enough, and you've lived here long enough.
Yeah, but I'm a recluse, man. Like, when I get off, like, I'm not I live in Gulf Shores, Alabama, and I would say, however long I've lived down here, which maybe 12 years, I have probably been to the beach maybe 7, 8 times.
So what does Blake, I mean, for your fans that are watching and listening, what does Blake Ray do in his off time? Recluse? Like, what does that mean?
I mean,
You're watching YouTube videos.
Yeah, and snakes and bear attacks and shark attacks.
I mean, who watches more YouTube videos, my 9-year-old or Blake Ray? It's a toss-up.
That's a toss-up.
Yeah, it's very interesting. You can get deep into YouTube, man.
Yeah, I'm sure
like, it can take you into some weird places. Weird places.
So what are you doing? You're watching YouTube?
I'm not just at home.
Do you play video games?
No.
Not a big gamer?
No. Yeah, I do a lot of knitting.
He's 35 years old.
Reclusive means that you're like...
I'm at home with my family. Like, look, this show's gotten, I got to protect them, Yeah. We don't want people mobbing us like we're the Beatles.
What's your address?
Paparazzi's crazy.
What's my address?
You over there on Briar? Where can we find you at?
Yeah,
123 Main Street?
Yeah, 123 Main Street. Just go up and down it. You'll see me out there mowing the lawn and something like this. So, no, I do the normal, average dad stuff. But I would say Sundays, I do a lot of... I don't have a good work-life balance. I think my fiance can definitely admit to that. My 2 kids, but
your fiance of 12 years, and
yeah.
Well, you could have said wife right there, and nobody would have judged
we'll
her.
get
right.
Yeah,
Right.
She's a common,
what's that?
Y'all are
We're
common
done?
law married.
We're common law in the state of Alabama, so
There you go.
I don't know what she's complaining about.
yeah. So we're done. Yeah. Where are we at on time?
No. All right, let's get back to the show. We got about 15 minutes, and I wanted to focus the last part of the show on really getting real and raw with sellers out there and really hitting them over the head with some truth bombs. So what are sellers doing to get in their way? What are they doing to get in the way of price, condition? Do they think they know more than they actually do? What's the deal out there with sellers these days? What are you encountering?
All of it.
It's pretty neat to watch the different sellers at different price points and the different struggles that they have. And I don't know why this is. If I'm in an interview for a $500,000 house, every one of those sellers know more about real estate than any real estate professional. They've sold 3 or 4 houses themselves, and therefore they are very aware of what it takes to sell real estate, and that we may or may not even be needed. You sell at a $2 to $250 price point, and they hang on every word we say.
They're lost. Yeah.
Yeah, they hang on every word. They're like,
Bible.
You tell me, and I will do whatever you tell me to do.
Yeah.
But I mean, for some reason, it's the demographic that you have to be careful when talking to them about that. They do get in their own way. All of them do. And then every seller feels that their home is worth about 10% more than it actually is. I don't know why that is.
But in defense, every buyer feels
proud
like
of
their
it.
home's worth 30% less.
That's
Right.
exactly
So I
right.
guess just getting people to communicate with each other. I feel like a guidance counselor most of the time watching like toddlers fight.
Sellers really like communication, and I think that's where Blake and I win in the real estate industry. Is we communicate and we talk to them and we're honest. And I feel like I can, with a smile on my face, say anything that I want to say to somebody and
That's
not
true.
get shot.
You do.
And
You've literally called me a name and been like, "Hey,
Yeah.
I'm smiling though."
Yeah, and it's like you can tell a seller, I know this is a beautiful home, but we have to do something about the smell. And I pride myself in telling people what they need to hear to get their home sold, rather than just worrying about their feelings all the time.
So let's stop right there just for a second, and I'll let you talk, Blake. But I think it's important to note, because we do have real estate agents that will be listening, that will be watching, that are scared to death to tell a seller the truth. They just want to go in there and tell them everything they think they want to hear to secure the listing. What they don't understand is that the seller is starving for the honesty, and
Right.
nobody wins if things like Todd is talking about, like animal, pet odors and things like that, cigarette smoke odors aren't addressed. I mean, nobody wins.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, it's going to actually, no, that's not true. There's going to be one loser. No one's going to win, but there is going to be one loser, and that's you, because your name is going to get drugged through the mud.
Right.
Hey, by the agents that show the house, they're going to go, "Oh, Blake's got a house that smells like train smoke and wolf." And then that seller, what are they going to do? What they're going to walk away from you. And then when I call them up next and I go, "What didn't you like about your other agent?" And then they go, well, that Todd, he never told me anything about what was. I'm going to walk in there and go, that thing smells like.
I've never heard that.
Well, yeah, but I'm saying, well, I don't work Central Baldwin as much as you.
I'm thinking we're onto a new cologne here. Train Smoking Wolf. This is something I'd like to see under the Christmas tree.
Train smoke. Yeah. Yeah.
Train Smoking Wolf. That sounds.
Yeah, it goes a little deeper, but yeah, it's Train Smoking Wolf. So we'll talk about that off camera.
Yeah.
I'm really intrigued.
It's an old Iowa adage. But yeah, I think now I forgot where I was.
It's not important. I really, when you talk, my brain just shuts off.
It's funny because I do that too. I just start talking and sometimes I forget where I'm at, and I just got to go, well, I got to finish it out now.
But we're just talking about the honesty, because one of the things that real estate agents are notoriously, I don't want to say dishonest, but maybe not upfront about, is price. And we know for a fact that if you do not address price in the appointment and you address it after you get the listing. So if you just tell a seller what they want to hear in terms of, they say, oh, I want to sell my home for $250. I think it's worth $250. And you know it's worth $225, but you just take the listing. Like, you just agree with them. Yeah, I can get you $250.
It's a slippery slope.
I've made that mistake early in my career. I did. I would take any listing that I could put a sign in the ground for whatever price they want to put it at.
It's always a slippery slope.
And how did that serve you?
Well, it left you in the end with either me admitting that I was wrong on the price or admitting that we were wrong on the price. The truth has to come out sooner or later because nobody's going to buy their property. And at the end of 6 months, you're looking at each other like, what happened? And when really they may have took your word and said, this isn't a 325 property. It's no more than 290.
Right.
It may have hurt then, but they would have at least sold their home and been able to move on down the road. And that's all they're selling their home for the second go around when another agent gets a shot because it expired with me to begin with.
And how many referrals are you getting from these
That's
people?
exactly right. You ain't never going to hear from these people.
Yeah, the finger always comes back to you as being the one who's responsible. So you're better off. And I advise you guys all the time to take an overpriced listing as long as you're honest with the people about where you think the true value is.
Try it for a few weeks.
Yeah.
You may find that one buyer out there that's cash, willing to pay. I mean, the perfect unicorn of a buyer. But, a lot of times if you got a game plan in place to say in a month from now, if we're not doing what we need to do with this, it's got to come down to a reasonable price. Mm-hmm. And another thing is you may just get an appraisal because that'll either justify what that seller's saying that they feel their price is at. It'll prove what I'm saying may be right. And also when a buyer comes around and wants to offer you a lowball offer, say, listen, we know what this property's worth. We've got a weapon in hand at that point to prove to that buyer you're not going to be making a poor investment. Just had an appraisal done.
I mean, no, it's right on. I think you're going to end up burning yourself. I do believe that there's a way of telling people. Like, you can obviously get a read. If it's a little old lady, you don't want to be like, ma'am, your house isn't going to sell. I'm sorry you got this crappy house and your husband passed away. But I think ultimately in the day, you got to bite the bullet, have the tough conversation. I mean, and don't get me wrong, I'll do it just as quick as anybody. And I'm a firm believer in that, there's a butt for every seat. But, I mean, you got to have it, at least for your own protection. You've got to have that conversation, at least on record say, hey, I think your house is a little overpriced. We should be here. Now, I will do it here. And that's where we do things like bracket price. There's some really unique ways that you can still keep it in the target demographic, though.
I think realtors that are willing to blow smoke and just to appease the seller are a dime a dozen.
That's true.
And I think that our only hope of standing out with between Mobile and Baldwin County, 4,000 to 5,000 realtors, the only way to stand out is to be honest.
Well, there's a lot of part-time realtors too
that don't know how to price properties.
That's right.
That just take a listing. I mean, that's really what we're battling against. Is not the market. We're battling against the retiree, and nothing wrong with you if you're watching the show. But
you just alienated about half of Todd's SOI.
But I'm saying
Way to
though, that's our competition as full-time realtors is part-time realtors. I mean, we were talking off camera, and I said, if you take 3,000 Baldwin County agents, actually, what was the stat? 1,500 in Mobile. So that's almost 4,500 realtors in Mobile and Baldwin. I would bet that there's over 3,800 of them that go both sides of the bay. And I think if you were to take and go, which one of you guys are full-time, you would probably be in the thousands.
Yeah, and it's one thing that Jeremy Sullivan is addressing at JWRE right now as the president and CEO is that For the longest time, we've just said, hey, if you meet our cultural standards, you can come in. Like, we'll welcome you with open arms, but that's not the case. I mean, he's turning away quite a few people that want to join our company. We get organically, as a company, we get like 4 to 5 agents coming in the door every day saying they're interested in joining us. But, you know, we've been enabling that part-time real estate agent crutch that really is the source of the black cloud that's over our industry, because they're not in the trenches day in and day out. A real estate agent's job is to solve problems. And if you are not encountering these problems in the field on a consistent basis, how in the world are you going to know how to solve them?
And just to say, 100%. A real estate agent, I can almost see where the fear mentality would just say, I can't do this full time. I need a consistent paycheck. I can do this on the side. If a friend needs to buy or sell a house, they can call on me. And really, if they would have a little bit more confidence in themselves, they could do it. They could do it if you got in there and worked.
Elmo.
I'll
call him out. That was a great example. That's why I talk to him all the time. I'm a firm believer in burning the bridge. Now, granted, I had some financial situations via the first bank of my parents that was able to help me, do things like normal living, paying for gas.
I burned through every dime of what little bit of retirement I had saved up. And it bought me 2.5 months, 3 months of, in that first check, it was only $1,500, and it could have been $1 million. I was so excited to see it, but it was something that you just have to step out there and believe in yourself a little bit. And that was something that I think that's the biggest thing, the biggest advantage that I've had coming to work for Jason Will Real Estate. Jeremy asked me that yesterday, and I said the biggest thing was that I've restored confidence in myself.
Yeah, we talk about that a lot.
I mean, and that's not a bragging point about what I sell, but I can sell. I can sell, and I can accomplish something through this company, and that's been great.
But you also understand you can relate to the Elmos of the world. I mean, just speaking about him for a minute. I mean, he won.
I think it's something that deserves to be a light shined on it. I talk to him almost every other day and try to encourage him to come back into a full-time status.
So where is his mind? What's his mindset right now? Because he wasn't there at our State of the Company meeting where he would have received a $1 million producer award.
$1 million producer, and I mean, like I'm.
It's quiet for Elmer right now.
Yeah.
So, and talk about your stat that you were talking about pre-show about how many agents are in Baldwin County.
I looked towards the end of last year because I do study the numbers. I mean, that's just for my own selfishness and wanting to know and justifying my being. And if you take 3,000 Baldwin County agents, 3,000, if you go to $1 million gross, it drops from 3,000 down to, 1,400?
Yeah, 1,400.
1,400 people only did $1 million in gross. That's not a lot of transactions. That is not. And there's a considerable, over half of the agents, 1,600 of them, didn't put together over $1 million in deals.
And to give Elmo props, he did that while working like 3 other jobs.
He was driving Uber. I mean, for crying out loud.
And he's working at a restaurant. I mean, he's doing so many different things and still sold $1 million.
But that's my point. Elmo really only worked 3 months, and he did it with nothing. He learned how to do the Craigslist ad, got frustrated, quit, came back on, did them, didn't know how to script. And he's a 6'8", 350-pound Muslim in Alabama. And I'm telling you, and not to go on a tangent here, but for new agents, get your crutch, throw it away, quit complaining about your life. And I do it too. I'm yelling at myself. Elmo did $1 million in production and just got to the mental break of the frustration of the hustle of the grind. Is my belief on why he did. He had to pay for his his house that he's living in, renting. So a lot of intangibles happened. But it is something that I'm passionate about. I call him and I tell him all the time, and we have a very unique way we talk to each other. It's very northern. And I tell him all the time I'm like, dude, you're a statistic. Like, I don't want to call him out. I don't want to bully him, but I want him to know, like, what you did is actually unique. Like, you finished higher than a lot of people. What was he, 25th in the company? Isn't that right?
I think so.
Yeah.
Or maybe under, maybe slightly under, but I don't know where they got to. He got an award, though.
He did.
For being the one of the producers.
Wasn't there to receive it.
Yeah, and wasn't there to receive it because mentally He has checked out so far out and is bartending at our bistro, which he does a great job. He's got great personality, but just the grind, because there is politics. I mean, let's be real. There's politics in real estate. There's politics in your office. There's people that are, you can constantly grind. I have a 2014 Chevy Cruze. I'm not bragging though. But I bought it with
candy apple red.
Yeah, it's a real chick magnet.
16-year-old girl.
Yeah, well, it's a good talking point. So, yeah, I had that, and I bought that with like 18,000 miles on it. And I think what is it now? I've had it for 2 years, 18,000 miles. Either way, I'm at 87,000 miles on that car, and I've only had it driving it for 2.5 years. I mean, and my point being on that.
Yeah, what is your point?
Yeah, I'll get to it. It gets very frustrating when you see someone who doesn't have to leave a town, Fairhope, or someone that can just drive down the street and go, well, I'm showing $500,000 houses today. I'm not working on Friday. I work on Sunday. I work Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. And that's, I can understand is my original point of where Elmo's mental fatigue came in, but that's why I do try to wake up at 4 a.m. every day. So I do my affirmations, my prayers, my everything. It's mental.
Well, and Todd, it would surprise a lot of people to know that as successful as Todd is, number 2 in the company for 2018, deals with a lot of mindset stuff. He'll text me a lot and go, hey, man, I need a boost. I need a kick in the pants.
Yep.
And, so it doesn't really matter. We all suffer with that. We all need it.
Major.
It's really important that before we only have, since you have really pontificated, just really
no clue what that means.
So much we're running out of time. But if a real estate agent,
you pontificated?
Yeah, sorry.
Oh gosh,
we'll clean that up. John.
Yeah, you need to just check your pants.
Whoa!
But you said that Elmo, just being real and honest, is a very tall, large,
he's hefty
Muslim.
Yeah.
In a very conservative area where people like Todd will judge a man just based on
I'm an independent.
the perception of heritage and religion and things like that. I mean, it's just the reality of the South.
Even if they like him, there's something in their mind.
Yeah, like I don't know. Can I trust him?
Yeah.
You gonna list my house, but you gonna blow it up? But I think there's a lot of real estate agents out there. What the point that hit home with me is like they're out there making all these excuses.
Yeah.
And if Elmo can sell $1 million in real estate with all these odds stacked against him
on the phone,
what is your excuse? And let's talk about
like he's from New Jersey.
Yeah.
Hey, how you doing?
Yeah, you swim with the fishes.
Yeah, Elmo Ghazi here, saying listen to the agent one by.
And if he can sell $1 million of real estate,
what's your problem?
Yeah. No, that's true. That's true. And he did it without scripting, without the Tom Ferries, without anything. He did it just picking up the phone and not being scared. So
do you think he'll ever come back? Are you still trying to encourage him to come back?
I hope so, man. I hope he does. If he's watching this, I think everybody's waiting for him to make a comeback. He's an explosive personality. So I think he needs to focus.
He's got a world of potential.
Major.
Yeah.
Major potential.
Major potential.
All right. So where is the next Todd and Blake show? Have you guys decided on your 53rd location?
Yeah, but it's a secret.
We usually set it up on Thursday and shoot it on Friday. So.
All right. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
I see what
we'll
you're saying.
sift through the stack of resumes that people.
The show will continue.
Season 2 coming out next week.
Yeah, season 2.
Yep. Season 2 drops.
All right, and since Todd has benefited and gotten a couple listings out of this, I think Blake Ray, give him your cell phone number. Let's see if anybody watching or listening will call you to buy or sell their home in Baldwin or Mobile County.
You can get in touch with me at 251-213-4658.
And Todd is
Doesn't
your active?
matter.
Yeah, your license, is it active?
No, that's not me. That's no.
Whoa. Hey, we're out of time, folks. Thanks for tuning in.
Marcus, he was talking about you. And if you'd like to know where Todd lives, I can get you that address.
We'll edit that out and
He's not going to watch the Todd and Blake show.
No, he doesn't like you guys.
He probably don't listen to the Impact Agent University either. So
all right, listen, don't drag me into this.
Okay.
What are these? These are on the desk here. Very unique. I've never seen these.
All right, everybody. Thank you so much for watching. This has been a treat. The 1-year anniversary of the Todd and Blake Show. They'll be back next Friday at 9 a.m. from a location that will be disclosed Thursday.
Maybe.
We're going after this to get birthday cake for 1 year. That's the thing we do. We
You
celebrate.
did that for like our 6th episode one too.
No, it was our.
Is he trying to get me
it
to
was
buy
our
him a cake?
I think so.
I'm so lost.
By
said, I got
by
one
cake,
goal
I
out of
meant
this.
lunch.
Yeah. He said, I got one goal out of this. Get cake.
Yeah. Yeah, let's, JW, I'm hungry. I mean, this podcast, man, it work up an appetite.
Talking
You
about
begged
king
me
cakes.
to come here to do this podcast. You're going to at least buy my lunch.
Yeah.
For the sake of everybody's sanity and well-being, we're going to end the show now. I want to thank Todd Hull and Blake Ray for joining me on the Impact Agent podcast. And for everybody watching via Facebook Live, thank you so much for joining us. If you got any questions for these guys, please reach out. If you're a local business that wants to have a light shined on you, reach out to them. They'll be happy to promote your show. And Blake he's willing to do just about anything to bring you business, and including getting tased.
Yeah.
Or shot with rubber bullets.
And if you're an agent in another part of the country, keep us in mind for referrals as well.
Ooh, good one, Toddy.
Anybody in the coastal Alabama, Mobile, or Baldwin County, the beach area, anything like that, keep us in mind for referrals. We'll take great care of your clients and represent you well.
All right, we're signing
We
off.
need to put that on the show.
Yeah.
Thanks for listening to the Impact Agent Podcast. If you like the show and got something out of it, please like the Impact Agent Podcast on Facebook and rate and review the show on iTunes or anywhere you listen to podcasts. This really helps us grow the show and helps other agents find it. Please share it with your friends and coworkers as well. You want us to deliver the show to you via email every week? Then email me at jason@impactagentuniversity.com and we'll send you the show every week. Please let us know what you think about the show, what you like, what you don't, or possibly make a suggestion about a topic you want to hear. Email me at jason@impactagentuniversity.com or leave us a message on Facebook at Impact Agent Podcast. Until next week, everybody be productive, safe, and happy, and always keep learning. This podcast is produced by Johnny Gwynn at Deep Fried Studios in Mobile, Alabama, and is paid for and powered by ImpactAgentUniversity.com.